Hey, what's going on, y'all? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. It's good to be back with y'all. Hey, what's up, Ish? How's it going, man? Hey, Dale, how's it going? Happy Sunday, y'all. Good day to get up in these charts. See what we got going on for the week. I'm good, man. Good. Ish, I'm good, man. Had a pretty good weekend. Football season has started. And NFL and for the kiddos, so we in full effect. We're gonna get started in about 2 minutes, y'all. We're gonna wait for a few other people to join in. We're gonna start off with our word of prayer, and we're gonna get into these charts, y'all. Sister Beck, how's it going? How's it going? Happy you can join today. Hey, what pairs did you guys trade last week? Last week, I only caught just a couple pairs last week. No, I take that back. I actually took a trade on a pair that I don't usually trade. I think it was on... I think I took a trade on EJ or something like that. Let me see. I think I took a trade on EJ last week. I'm not sure which pair it was. Or was it A-Chef? Let's see, which pair was it that I caught? I can't remember which one it was. Is it EK? I know I took something random last week, and it actually went in my favor because I saw, yeah, this was it right here. I didn't stay in it though. It hit like 70%. I took partials and I moved my stop to entry, and it came back and wigged me out from that point. But it came down, hit 70%, then it kind of came up, and then it came back down to this area and it stopped in the market right there. But mostly last week, I caught mostly gold and USD CAD. Mr. Bless, you caught EJ and gold. Yeah, gold was definitely giving some really good profits last week. GJ, okay. Dale, you caught GJ and EU. I didn't trade EU last week. I did trade it the week before last. Sister Beck, you say you got in on some indices in GU. Okay, all right. Good deal, y'all. Hey, like I said, if y'all see any pairs that y'all want me to mark up, go ahead and put them in the chat, and we'll go ahead and knock those out first. And if y'all have some of the pairs that are the same as mine, then I'll go ahead and tackle those as well. But if y'all have any pairs, please put them in the chat, and I'll definitely mark them up for y'all. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into a word of prayer, y'all. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this day. We want to thank you for life, health, and strength, Lord. I want to thank you for everybody who's on this call. I pray that this channel will continue to be a blessing to those who join in. For those who are new traders, I pray that anything that we say, can help somebody become profitable. I pray that this resource can help someone become financially free, and that we always provide a safe space for all traders, beginner, advanced, intermediate, whoever you may be. And Lord, we ask these things. I pray that everyone has a blessed weekend, that they continue to be healthy and safe. And Lord, We love you, praise you, and we honor you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. Let's check out our news. Let's check out our fundamental news for the week. All right. Let's see what we got. Let's see, you guys. So Sunday, we can see nothing is really going on. Pretty much got that bank holiday charts. They're gonna open up about 4 o'clock Central Time. So let's look at tomorrow. All right. So looking at tomorrow, we see that GBP might pop off 1 o'clock in the morning Central Time. I know for a fact I probably won't be trading anything around that time anyway. I like to let the markets kind of settle a little bit. Mr. Bless, you want me to look at EJ? No problem. I'll look at that for you. And we can see there might be a little bit of news on AUD. So those who are trading gold, you might see a little movement at 8:30 Central Time tomorrow as well. Let's see, going into Tuesday, okay, we can see that's when the market starts to pop off a little bit. See, we got CPI on USD at 7:30 Central. And that's pretty much it as far as the firecrackers for Tuesday. And then going into Wednesday, we got GBP at 1 in the morning, 7:30. That's when we can see USD starts to pop off again with PPI. We got some NZD news at 5:45. So be mindful of those. For those who trade NZD pairs, be mindful of that. And then, of course, at 8:30, we got some AUD news that's going to pop off with unemployment change and unemployment rates. Okay. Let's look at Thursday. 7:30. It looked like we got all USD action on Thursday. So we definitely is going to see some fireworks on Thursday. So about that time, probably going into Tuesday, that's when the market will probably settle into itself and we can actually get a good picture on where the market is actually trying to go. I have a few predictions that I think the market could go, and I'll go over those today and show you guys what I think might happen. And then Friday, we can see we got GBP again at 1 in the morning, and then we got USD at 9 o'clock. We got the USD talking about inflation expectations, so we should definitely see some movement on Friday. So we'll be mindful of that. All right, let's start it off. Let's hop into EJ. I'm sorry. Let's look at EJ and see what EJ got to offer. Let me use a blank chart on this. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and change my candlesticks because I think you guys will be able to see them a little bit better on the screen. So I'll go ahead and change them to blue and black. Okay. So if we're looking at the daily time frame, we can see we can see that this thing did quite a few things. All right. So before we look at the daily, let's look at the weekly and kind of get a picture or an idea as to where this thing is going. So from a weekly perspective, we can see that it's bullish. Okay. We can tell on a weekly perspective, price came up, made a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then a higher high here. This is actually lower. Okay. And so from a weekly perspective, that's what we can see. We see it broke this last high here. And so one of the things that we're probably looking for EJ is, possibly give us a pullback. All right. And just from the initial glance of this thing on a weekly time frame, we have a demand zone right here. Okay. We have a demand zone in this area right here. We also have an imbalance, a weekly imbalance, so we can actually move our demand zone all the way up here to actually capture this imbalance. Okay. And we'll go ahead and label this as our weekly demand zone. And depending on what we see on the daily time frame, we might, kind of adjust this thing accordingly. Okay. So if we drop it to the daily, we can see a few things. We can see higher high, higher low. Let me go ahead and use our tool for this. So we had higher high, higher low, higher high. This thing kind of broke a little bit here, took out these lows here, and then from there it gave us an impulse up, higher high, higher low. Let's see, I think these are equal highs that we have in this area. Let's see. Yes, we got equal highs here. So with this little bit of noise right here, I want to kind of look at this as such. I'm gonna take this one here, higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay, then we can see from a daily perspective, price broke back, give us another higher low, and then price broke these last highs here, giving us a higher high. Okay, so we're possibly due for a pullback in this area. All right, just like we're in confluence with the weekly time frame as well. So if we're possibly due for a pullback, we can see just from this daily time frame, we can see that price has broken this last wick here, which means on a smaller time frame, we've broken some sort of structure, and price possibly is due for a retest, which is possibly this pullback here, and it's probably going to continue to the downside. Okay, so let's look at the 4 hour just to kind of see exactly what price is doing. All right, so from a 4 hour perspective, you can see that price came up, gave us a higher high, gave us a higher low, higher high, and then it broke structure here on the 4 hour. But it's a little bit choppy, so let's drop it down to the 1 hour just to kind of get a look at this thing. Okay, so now we can kind of see it a little bit clearer. So we said on that daily time frame that because it broke that wick, it broke structure. And so from a 1 hour perspective, we can kind of look at the market as such. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, break of structure here. Okay, so this is definitely our BOS here. Now when we get our break of structure, we're looking for a pullback 50% or greater. Okay, so a couple of things that we can see is we have a supply zone all the way at the top here. And then from there we start to dip off, and then we have we're showing bearish momentum because we have bearish order blocks in this area. We have a bearish bullish bearish followed by another bearish bullish bearish, and price dips off, which actually gave us our break of structure. We took out this low here, and it also took out this little slightly low here. So it took out both of these lows. Okay, so one of the things we want to do now, let's drop it to the 15-minute time frame just to kind of get a glance at what price is actually doing. All right, so we can see on a 15-minute time frame, we got a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So we don't know if price is going to come back up and retest this area until price, hold on 1 second, until price actually breaks this structure here and takes out these short-term highs here. When price breaks this area, then we'll be looking for the retest. And this retest can happen anywhere within this 50% area right here. So we can possibly be looking at a demand zone here or a demand zone in this area right here. In this area, it's a bit choppy, so we might be looking at this continuation order block here, to come back and tap into this with an imbalance, or we could possibly look for it to tap all the way up into this bigger supply zone here, because we can see that in this supply zone, from a 15-minute perspective, we have a supply zone all the way up in this area with unhealthy price action all the way down here. And so with looking at that, it gives me the notion that there may be some sort of distribution, some Wyckoff distribution in this area. But before we make that assumption, let's see if this candle here actually tapped into a previous point of interest. So let's go ahead and put a line right here, and let's look to our left to see if it actually dipped into anything. Let's go to the 4-hour just to see. Because if it dipped into something, then that's the initial confluence that we want to look for Wyckoff. Because a spring or a U-tag has to dip into something or tap into some point of interest before we can consider it as something that we want to look at. So I'm gonna do a bar replay, and let's drop to the 4-hour just to see if there's anything over here. So there actually was a small imbalance here, but don't really like it. It'd have been more prominent if it would have dipped into this area up here. But let's drop down to each time frame just to kind of look and see what it did. And I can see that, you know, this actually closed on a 2-hour time frame. Okay, the 1-hour won't let us get that far, so I wouldn't necessarily look at this as a distribution on a smaller time frame because it's not giving me clean, concise confluences that I'm looking for. So right now, what I want to do though is I want to wait for price to kind of dip into this area here, because we're looking for that pullback, because we want to get that confirmation that price is going to go down. And so we can already see that it's broken structure like we said on the 1-hour. So once we kind of dip into this 50% area, we'll be looking for the dip off. And what we can do, a couple things that we can do with this pair, we can look for price, once it comes into this area here, we can look for price to come to this -27. So for example, if it dips into this this 61.8 area, and we ride it down to this -27, that's about 189 pips from that area right there. So that's actually really good. But you know, because this turnaround is happening on a daily and a weekly, we have a lot of room to go, you guys. We have a lot of room to go. So you know, you can actually, if you catch something up in this area, because this is the high, if you catch something up in this area, even so from this supply zone, you literally can ride this thing all the way down. Take a nice entry, make sure you use proper risk management, ride this thing all the way down, and you can take partials along the way and constantly ride your stop loss every time it gives you new structure to go down. But yeah, I think this is a really good pair setup. And so what I'll do, I'll put an alert here for the entire group. Let me go ahead and do that right quick. That way, if we see this alert come through, we can all be mindful that price is approaching our golden zone, and we can possibly look at it to possibly hop in on something like that. So we can say Euro JPY approaching golden zone. Okay, but let me go ahead and make sure that I add all of our parameters in there. That way it'll reach the group. Let me add this webhook. JPY. Okay, save. Let me copy this content here. Yeah, EJ is looking really good. It's looking really good. I actually like this setup. There we go. So you guys will get this alert as well. When price starts to come up to this area, I definitely want to see where it's going to tap into, because if we're looking at this from a 1 hour perspective, there's a couple areas we can tap into. This area here, or this area here. And so we just want to be mindful of what it's going to tap into. Okay. All right. So EJ is the only one that we're looking at right now. So yeah, we're looking at something possibly come up in here, possibly come down to this area right here. It's negative 27. So that's actually, yeah, I like the way this setup is. I like the setup, you guys. All right. So I don't see any additionals. Let me see. Oh, no problem. No problem. Brother Streets. Hey, what's going on? All right, you guys. Let's start off on GU. Let's see. GU, you guys. So GU is still bearish from a daily perspective. Me personally, I think it will possibly get down to this target area here, which is right around this 1.13582, or maybe this 1.135. But we'll see. We'll see what it's gonna do. Because right now it looks like it came down and stopped at this 1.14 thousand bank level, and now it looks like it's trying to go up to give us another lower high or something like that. So let's dip into the 4 hour just to kind of see exactly what price is doing. EU is the opposite of GJ. Okay, I'll check that out too. I'll check that out. So if we look at this from a 4 hour perspective, you guys, we can see, we can just actually take it from this point here. Lower low. Actually, let me make this a little darker so you guys can see it. So from a 4 hour perspective, we have lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and then we have a break of structure in this area right here. This is a 4 hour break of structure, okay? And now I would like to see price come a little bit higher, but it actually did give us our break of structure. So we'll just wait and see exactly what price is gonna do. So it's a couple things that we can look for. Right here, we have a demand zone in this area right here. And so price, what we want to do, we want to see if price will dip into this area here and then possibly go to the upside. So if we throw our fibs on here, on this last little swing situation here, I'm sorry, this bottom swing here. I'm sorry, you guys. So if we look at it from this perspective like this, we can see price can possibly dip into this area. It can possibly tap into this imbalance here. Or tap into this demand zone. And so let's go ahead and look at possibly the 1 hour and the 15 minute just to see exactly what price is doing. So on the 1 hour, we can see that, you know, we're still kind of in an uptrend, things like that. Let's drop to the 15 minute. And we can see that we still possibly have the same thing on the 15 minute. This here almost looks like it's giving us a higher high, higher low type situation, but the candles are too close in proximity, so I don't really like using this as a swing. So I want to kind of be patient and just kind of wait for price to come back to the golden zone. Because I would have, for me, one could say price came up, gave a higher high, higher low, higher high, and a break of structure right here. But like I said, it's not all the way clean, and this swing is not that big for me. It might be a break of structure on a smaller time frame, maybe. Like on a 5 minute, higher high, higher low, higher high. Yeah, so this is a break of structure on the 5 minute, so we could look at it from that perspective. 5 minute break of structure, and then from here we can throw our fibs on here. And we can see that price has dipped into our 50%, but I don't like it because we have unhealthy price action in this area, and we have We do have a supply zone and we have unhealthy price action here that needs to close out, and price is kind of close to that area, so I would like to see it close out. And another thing, on a 5-minute time frame, you can see is giving us bullish market structure here. And from a 5-minute perspective, I wouldn't be looking for sales as of yet until price actually breaks this last higher low on the 5-minute time frame. So I will possibly be looking at price to dip into maybe this 61.8 because we have a supply zone right here next to the 61.8 mark. And I would like to see price dip into this. Now, one thing that could happen with this, price can possibly come up, take out liquidity and bypass the supply zone to actually tap into this supply zone here. So we want to make sure that we're mindful of that. And so it could bypass that, come up here, tap this 78.6 area, and then dip to the downside. So one of the things I want to do, I just want to be mindful. I want to see price bypass this point here, this last high here. So we can look at an alert possibly right in between the 61.8 and the 50 area. So let's see if we can capture something like that. Grab this here. Remove that one. And we'll put an alert right here. GU approaching 61.8. Okay. And then we'll add something. Oh crap. Hold on 1 second. I gotta copy this. Okay. So I want to see it dip into this area. However, because it already dipped into this 50%, if it decides to go the other way, we can put an alert right here that lets us know, okay, it's broken structure on the 5-minute time frame, so it don't want to go up any further. It just want to go ahead and come down, because like I said, it tapped into the 50%, so we're within it's within its rights to actually go down. Let's see. GU 5-minute BOS. Let me take this here. Put that in here. Okay. So we have an alert on both of these areas. So if price shoots up, decides to come to the supply zone, we'll know. If it breaks structure, we'll be looking for a retest and then continue to the downside. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at EU. Let's go to the daily time frame on this pair. And we can also see EU, just like any other USD pair with USD in the denominator, we can see that it's bearish. You know, we have a low here, lower high, lower low. I didn't choose this one because it's not lower than this one here. So lower low, lower high, possibly a, well, yeah, this is a lower low here, but we want to see what it's going to do when it come up in this area here. So with us knowing that, we know from a daily perspective, this is our last lower high before we actually be bullish overall. So let's look at a 4-hour time frame as well. And we can see from a 4-hour time frame perspective, we have lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Okay. And we can see that price has been playing around these 3 levels for quite some time. This 0.99 bank level, this $1 mark that's in parity with USD, and this 1.01 thousand area. The EU has just been playing around with this for about 2 or 3 weeks. about 2 or 3 weeks. It's just been playing around in these areas here. Okay, so we can see that we do have a break of structure. Price has wicked up through this area here. So one of the things we want to see if we can get a pullback, 50% or greater. So we want to see if we can get a pullback, something like this. Let's make this a little bigger. So we have a couple areas. We have this huge area here, this huge demand zone, which is massive, which possibly happened with some sort of news during this time. But one of the things we can see though, we have another demand zone in this area here. I don't want to negate that area. I'm gonna do this entire candle here because we have imbalances in this area. We have some imbalances here. But what I want to show you guys is a couple of things. With this push here, you can see price came and gave us a bullish, bearish, bullish. It broke through and it took out this short-term high here. Let's move this over and make this bigger. And it didn't quite take this one out. However, what it did was it came back, almost retested in this area, which it kind of closed this gap here. We can see, because we want to look at all confluences, we can see price came back, it closed this gap. It didn't necessarily close this one, but however, it did close this area here. And so now for me, just because it closed this area, I'll probably be more inclined to look at this huge demand zone here. Now, if it breaks through here, yeah, I'll possibly look to that area. But for me, I'll probably be looking to this demand zone here for price to bounce off of this and possibly continue to the upside. So with that being said, we can see this area here, this demand zone, it broke through this short-term high here. And it also broke this short-term high here. So what we want to do, we want to look at those demand zones or supply zones that break multiple short-term highs or short-term lows or liquidities or things like that. So we can see that this broke through these areas. It broke through these levels. And not to mention, it broke this one as well. It broke both of these. It broke this one, and this one. So it broke all three of those levels. And so what I want to see is for price to come back, dip into this demand zone somewhere in here. We'll look on a smaller time frame to see if we have something a little bit more smaller, but we want to look for price to dip into this area right around this bank level. I don't think price will get back down here just yet, but I think price will go up to create a lower high somewhere up in this area on a bigger time frame. So let's go ahead and break it down to the 1 hour just to kind of see what we have. Okay, so this has to be a break of structure on a smaller time frame right here. We come here and let's see exactly what that is right there. Okay, so let's break it down to the 15. And true enough, that's what it is. We can see it from a 15-minute perspective: higher high, higher low, higher high, break of structure. So now we want to get our pullback 50% or greater to confirm our down movement. And we can see, for me, one of the things I want to look for is we got unhealthy price action here, and we also have a supply zone here that I really, really like. I like this supply zone here. And the reason why I like this supply zone is because, you know, this supply zone gave us unhealthy price action, and it also broke through this, it broke structure. It broke through this low here. As we can see, we had 1, 2, 3 rejections in this area. We also had this wick here, but this price action here, it broke through all of this action here. Broke through that action, stopped here. So I want to see a pullback 50% or greater, possibly all the way up to the supply zone if we can get it. and then we can get a dip off to the downside back into this demand zone. Once we come up in this demand zone, we can see that we have unhealthy price action here. We have a smaller demand zone here on a 15-minute, so price can possibly come all the way down to this area before it shoots back up. Because like I said, I ultimately want to see if price will create a lower high. Hold on, let me take out all of this action here. If I do a 50% on this area here, well, you know what? We'll have to see what it's going to do, because a lot of times EU wick the 50% and it'll go back the other way. So let's be mindful. We can see that it's giving us a break of structure to go down. And so one of the things that we want to look for, we possibly, for the immediate move or whatever, we want to possibly look for this pullback to the supply zone and then ride it down to this to this demand zone here, or we can ride it down to this -27. Let's see how many pips that is. So that's about 74, 75 pips from this supply zone to this area here. For me, if I caught this trade, I would definitely take partials at 50%, move my stop to entry, and then I will see if it would actually come down to this area, possibly to the -61.8, or possibly further within this demand zone. And if it does, and it's constantly giving us bearish momentum, then I'll possibly keep riding price down. So what I want to see for the immediate is I want to see price dip back into this area here. If it can dip back into this area and give us an entry, then I would definitely ride that down. So set an alert for this EU as well. Does that make sense, everybody? I hope I wasn't talking too fast. Does that make sense? EU approaching golden zone. Okay. Yeah, that's what I want to see with EU, you guys. I want to be patient with this and possibly catch some really, really good entries, because I believe that we can. Yeah, we'll see what it do. We'll see what it do. Hold on, this supply zone is on what time frame? Is this a 15-minute? Yes. Let's make sure we notate that. 15-minute supply zone. Okay. Yeah, that's what I have for EU, you guys. So the ultimate move that I want to see, I do think it's better to look for sales for EU just for now. The reason why I say that is because I see that it broke structure for the up move, but for the immediate, we still got to get that retest. So what we can possibly do, we can ride the momentum for the retest back down. So what we can do, we can take the move up here to this supply zone, and then we can ride it down here. And then if price starts to, let's just say if price is doing something like this down here, and if it breaks structure in this area here and give us a retest, then yeah, we can start saying, okay, I want to start looking for buys now. But what we can do for this retest, just because we're right here before the confirmation of the retest, we can ride price down and catch that momentum. Then when it's down here in this demand zone, if it decides to give us the turnaround and give us the change of character or the break of structure, so to speak, we can ride it back up. Does that make sense? But yeah, Dale, to answer your question, I think I'll be looking for sales for the immediate, so I can ride it back down to this demand zone. Okay, let's look at USD CAD, you guys. So now with this pair, if we're looking from on a daily perspective, I've had these marks on here for quite some time because USD CAD has been bullish for quite some time, just like most USD pairs have been bearish. And so with looking at that, we can see USD CAD higher high, higher low, possibly in, sometime maybe next week or the coming weeks, possibly break this area and give us another higher high. So I do have an alert over here when it breaks this higher high, just to kind of let me know. But looking at the immediate, let's drop down to the 4-hour time frame. We can see that price is still bullish. This is not necessarily a breakup structure on the 4-hour, because when we look at this, it looks like a breakup structure. However, you can see in this area we have equal highs. So the actual move right now, if we're looking at this, is higher high, higher low, higher high. So this possibly here, this move here is possibly our higher low. We don't know yet until this area is broken or it confirms that area. So right now, I wouldn't be looking for a break of structure until price actually broke this area here. But what we can see, some of the things that we can see though, is this clearly was a demand zone in this area right here. And with that demand zone, if this is our structure, if this is our last higher low point here, we can look at this fib and we can say price literally almost came back 100% within this fib. And so this will possibly be a really, really good entry point. But let's break it down to a smaller time frame just to kind of see what it's actually doing on that smaller time frame. So 15-minute, can't really see. 5-minute, can't really see. Let's drop it down to the 1-minute time frame. Okay. All right, you guys, let's look at these moves on the 1-minute time frame. And I hope you guys can see this. I'm gonna try to make it as big as I can from a 1-minute perspective. Okay. Now from a 1-minute perspective, we can see that price give us a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and a lower low here. Okay. Price gave us a break of structure in this area right here. So what is a 1-minute break of structure? Now we're looking for a pullback. We're looking for a pullback on this break of structure. Okay. So if we took our fibs, we can see it didn't quite give it to us here. So now we want to move our fibs all the way up in this area right here. And we can see that price is right there at the 50% mark. However, I don't want to look at that as our turning point as of yet. I want to see price at least get down to this 61.8 or almost to this 78.6, because we have these huge candles here with this unhealthy price action, and we have a small little demand zone right here on the 1-minute time frame with this imbalance. So for me, this is the area that I want to look for price to actually bounce off, because it's really, really good risk management. Because let's just say if we actually caught this trade here, okay? Let's just say we took a buy right here and we decided to put our stop loss a little bit up under this area here. Even if we put it right under this demand zone, that's a 2-pip stop loss right there. We put it down here, that's about 6 pips. And what we could do, we can literally ride this up to this negative 27, which is about 70 pips. And that's a 1 to 11 risk reward. So for those who were taking like a a prop firm challenge or something like that, you have to do 10%. So if this move was caught here on something like that, you would pass your challenge on this one trade. If you did if you were doing a 1 to 10 and you were only risking 1% of your account, this literally will pass your account if this thing play out like we kind of expect it to, or like I hope it will. So for me, this definitely will be one of the moves that I'll be looking for, because one of the things that I said is I'm still looking for buys for this particular pair, and I'm still looking for sales for other pairs, okay? Other USD pairs. So I want to see price dip into this small 1 minute demand zone and possibly ride all the way up somewhere in here. I want to see these highs here broken, because we're still bullish. We're still bullish. And so that's the move that I want to look for. If you wanted to be conservative with something like this, like if we drop this down to the 3 minute and we looked at this, if you wanted to be conservative, you could put your stop right below this huge demand zone here, because this demand zone is actually the higher low on a higher time frame. And so this is about a 32 pip stop loss. This is still a 1 to 2 risk reward. I don't take anything less than a 1 to 3, so I probably wouldn't put my stop loss that big. But what you could do is ride this up to this area here. You can ride it up to this top area here where this price action is, right here. And if you did that, now your risk reward, if you risk 1%, this turns into a 1 to 4.6. Okay, so we can look at it from that perspective as well. So if you wanted to risk 1%, you can have a stop loss this big, and that's fine. You know, long as you're risking 1% and you're using correct proper risk management, this is completely acceptable, because this will be in a nice conservative area. If price comes down to this area, you know that if it breaks this low down here, then you can safely say, all right, price is probably going to turn around and go the other way, because this low here, this is a 4-hour low. This is a 4-hour higher low. And so that's pretty much, you know, that's macro, that's high time frame low right there. So that's the protected low right there. So you can put your stop loss comfortably right there, and you can ride this up to this area here, or you can ride it all the way up to this area. Whichever one you choose to do, you know, it'll definitely work. But this will definitely be a pair, because this is one of my pairs that I really like to trade. This will definitely be a pair that I'll really be looking for. One of the things I don't want to miss as well is we do have an imbalance right here, and price can possibly bounce off of this area. No, do whatever like that. Emmanuel, you say you buying USD CAD all the way up to 1.3224. Okay, let's look at that. Let's see what you're buying it up to. Are you currently in a buy right now that you're still in from last week? Let's see, you say you're buying it up to, let's see where you're buying it up to. You say you are going to 1.32244. Okay. Hey, so that right there, that's actually the daily higher high. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. That's a good move right there. If you're buying it up to that area right there, like if we were to catch this down move right here, that's 220 some pips. That's a good trade. That's a really good trade. Like if we did the risk management from this perspective, that's a 1 to 6. But we decided our stop loss was really small. That can be like a 1 to 22, 1 to 20, anything like that. I know this will definitely be a trade that I'll be looking for this week. So I definitely want to put alerts on this. Emmanuel, let me know if you're actually in that trade right now. I'll be curious to know that. But I want to put an alert right before this imbalance, because I don't want to miss this move. USD CAD approaching holding zone. Let's see. I want to make sure everybody can get these alerts. And if you guys are new to the channel and you are not in our Discord, please join our Discord. It's free. It'll be in the description. Join our Discord and you can get these alerts too. These alerts go straight to our Discord channel. And as always, you guys, I definitely appreciate you guys rocking with us today. What the heck did I just copy? There we go. Copy this. There we go, right there. Bam. I like this trade. I really, really like this setup. I like this setup. I want to see exactly what it's going to do. Because if this gives us the moves, the engulfing candle on the 4-hour time frame. Let's see which one you caught. Ah, I see. Okay, you caught this move right here. So me, one of the things that I usually do, Emmanuel, when we have an engulfing candle, I usually wait for the pullback on the engulfing candle, because usually the engulfing, and it's everybody's preference, but usually what I've noticed with the engulfing candles, you know, it's pretty much a break of structure on a smaller time frame. And so basically I want to see that pullback at least 50% within that engulfing candle, and then I usually catch that ride up. So that looks like what it's maybe doing in this area here is coming back. So I want to see if it'll dip into 50% of this area, which is right around that demand zone, like right around this area. If it can dip into this, or even come down to this 1 minute demand zone and shoot up, that's the move I'm trying to catch. I really, really like this trade. I really like this trade. Or did you catch this engulfing candle here? I don't know which one. I don't know if it was this one or this one. But either way, I mean, you're in a buy. I mean, you're going with the trend. So I like either way. Either way that it's going, I like. I really like. So this is definitely a move that I plan on catching. All right, let's move on, you guys. Let's move to G-Chef. And then we're gonna end it off with gold, my favorite pair. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's kind of remove some of these old marks that I had on here. I haven't traded G-Chef in a while. It hasn't really been giving me good market structure like I like. It's been a bit choppy, so I haven't really been taking it. And as you can see, these moves are, they're not, I don't know, the moves are not that clean to me. Let's drop it to the 4-hour to see. Okay, we can see market structure on the 4-hour time frame. This thing is highly bearish right now. We can see from a 4-hour perspective, lower low, lower high, yep, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and a huge drop off to the downside. So we're definitely due for some sort of pullback. So let's drop this all the way down to the 15 minute just to see exactly what's going on with this thing. So let me remove this. So from a 15-minute perspective, we can see, if we look at the big moves on this thing, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So we're due for a pullback or something like that, possibly take us to the downside. So I don't know about this pair, you guys. I mean, I can see the moves, but I just overall, I just don't like the way G-Chef has been moving. It's just been, it hasn't been clean market structure in my opinion. Supply zone here with the huge imbalance dip off. So one of the things we can possibly look at, because like I said, it's still bearish. If we throw the fibs on this thing, we can see that price has dipped into the 50% area. But for me, I would like to see it come all the way up to the supply. So if I miss that move, I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm okay with missing this move, but I'm not gonna take any, you know, impulse trading just to be taking it just to try to catch a move on this pair. Because like I said, I don't like the moves. I'll put an alert here. GBP chef approaching supply. I mean, if I miss it, like I said, I'm okay with it. But if it comes up to this area, I'll look at it. But if it like dips off into the downside, then I'm just like, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna really fool with it. But let's kind of take a look though. I mean, not take a look, but we can put this alert on here just in case it happens, and we'll know. And if it looks clean, then you know, I'll take it. But if it don't, I'm not gonna really stress on it too much like that. Okay, so we'll put that supply there. If it comes up there, we'll all know that it's close to our supply, and we can start looking at it. Okay. All right, you guys, let's look at gold. Caught some really good moves on gold last few weeks, and let's look at gold overall. And so we can see that gold is still bearish. We can see from a 4-hour perspective, we have this lower low, lower high, lower low. This is possibly the lower low maybe here, because this is the last lower high that we have to break before we're actually going in the other direction. And so from a 1-hour perspective, there was a supply zone here that price dipped into. So let's look at the 1 hour. We can see on the 1 hour time frame, we had the supply zone, and we can see that price came up, dipped into this area, and then it gave us a dip off. Okay, so if we're looking from the immediate right now, we can see that from a 1 hour perspective, we had lower low, lower high, lower low. On a 1 hour time frame, we had a break of structure right here. This was a 1 hour BOS. Price dipped back 50% or greater, which it tapped into this demand zone situation right here, which probably is more defined on a smaller time frame, but it dipped into this demand zone right here, and we can tell that price started to dip up. And so from a smaller perspective, on a smaller time frame, like if we came to the 15-minute, we can tell on the 15-minute, like we can literally see the moves. From a 15-minute perspective, you know, we had bearish momentum, lower high. We had these lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, break of structure right here on the 15-minute. And with gold, like it shows you the move. So with these, when it gives you the moves, just be patient and wait for them. We can see that it gave us a 50% or greater pullback right here. It dipped off into this demand zone right here. Tapped into this demand zone. And then what did it do? It shot off. This bad boy shot off. So we literally can wait for the moves. We don't have to take any unnecessary impulse moves and being impatient. Just literally wait for the moves. It dipped off. It came up all the way to this area here. It gave us a higher high, higher low, higher high, dipped into the supply zone up in this area. I'm sorry, yeah, supply zone in this area here. Now, what I'm looking for, because ultimately on gold, I'm looking for sales. I have a big target for gold, and I'll show you guys exactly what it is. But I want to see gold break this area here. This will be a 15-minute break of structure. If you break this area, I want to see a retest. And for me, ultimately, I think gold will get down to this 1628 or 1620 area. I say that because if you look at this from a daily perspective and we throw a fibs on this, we throw our fibs on here, price dipped into this 61.8, which it actually tapped into this huge imbalance right here. This imbalance with all this unhealthy price action on the daily. It dipped into this, which was right up here around 1807. This is a trade that I think myself, I caught this trade on a swing trade, and I think our friend Enterprise, he caught this as well. He caught this trade as well. But as you can see, this thing is literally following Fibonacci sequences. This thing dipped into this area here, and so for the completion of this fib, I'm looking for it to come down here to this -27. That's my ultimate bias for gold. I want to see it get down here. It broke 1700, played around, came back up, retested. I want to see it come back down to this area. Okay, so for the immediate, let's go back to the 15-minute and look at what price is doing. So one of the things I want to see if it's going to break this area here. I want to see if it's going to break this 15-minute. Yeah, if we get that, then I want to look for a retest, and I'll possibly sell gold all the way down. That's what I want to see. That's exactly what I want to see for gold. We drop down to a 5-minute time frame. Let's look at something. Now with a 5-minute time frame, we might be able to catch a earlier move. And I say that because of this. When it dipped into this supply zone, we had a transfer of power. Now, what do I mean by that? Move this over here. I did that wrong. Right in this area here. So you guys can see how this pretty much gave this curve here. So this basically is a transfer from strong hands to weak hands, just in this area on this smaller time frame, because we have this little oval shape here. So with looking at that, we can see from a smaller time frame, we had a higher high, higher low, higher high, break of structure, starting to get the pullback in this area right here. Okay, so what I want to see, let's see where we are right now. Kind of wicked off of this 50% area, but not quite. So I want to see it get a little higher. I want to see if it can actually come up to this area, take out this unhealthy price action, wick into this 78.6. If it can dip into the 78.6 and then on a 1-minute time frame, this is what I want to see. If price can come up to this area, dip into this, give me something like this, break of structure, retest on a 1-minute time frame, I'm hopping in this thing from a 1-minute perspective. I'm hopping in it, taking a sell here. Stop loss gonna be above this area right here. I'm riding this thing all the way down. I'm riding it all the way down. And what we possibly can do, 1700 can possibly be your first target. That's about 258 pips. But that's the move right there. We can ride it down there, or we can ride it down to this 15-minute area here. But for me, I would ride it down to 1700, or even so, you can ride it down to this area right here, which is about 345 pips. Either way, I'm gonna be looking for this move up in this area right here. So I want to put an alert right when it crosses this area here, because I want to look and see what price is going to do when it gets to that area. Gold approaching golden zone. Okay. Let's gather our alerts. All right, so that's pretty much what I'm looking at for gold. Let's see. Sister Beck, does anyone trade gold? I mean oil. I don't really trade oil, but if you want me to mark it up, I can mark it up for you. I haven't traded oil. I think I've literally traded oil maybe once, like ever. I think I've only traded it once, but I can actually mark it up for you. Let's check it out. Let's look at oil. I'm sorry, that's silver. That's oil. Here we go. All right. Let's look at oil from a daily perspective just to see what it's doing. Well, since I don't really look at this pair, let's start from the weekly. We can see from a weekly perspective, we are bullish. Higher high, higher low, higher high. Okay, this is our last high here. Possibly this is a higher low. We don't know. All right. Oops, sorry about that, you guys. So with that being said, from a weekly perspective, we can throw a fibs on here. We can see that we're definitely well within our 50% area, which price may get down to this demand zone down in this area here from a weekly perspective. So we'll mark it up just to have it on there. That way we can see what's up. And we'll call this our weekly demand zone. All right, there we go. Now let's drop it to the daily and see what we have. So in a daily time frame, we can see that we have the higher high. Let's mark this up. Let's mark this up so we can see it visually. Higher high. As possibly as the higher low. I say that because we haven't got anything that broke this high here. So this is our higher high. Even though it did these moves like this and came up here and things like that, this still is the higher high. It hasn't been broken. So this possibly here is our higher low. Okay, because we're having all these big moves on the daily, let's drop it down to a smaller time frame. I would even say the hour. Let's drop it down to the hourly to see where we are. Okay. So from this hourly time frame, we can see that we're bearish. And I would even say I would throw a trend on this just because of how price is moving. And it's actually moving in some sort of a channel, so to speak. We can kind of look at it like that. But just looking at this pair, let's look at the moves. That way we can see exactly where we are. We can actually start, we can start right here. That's our lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, okay? And we can see that those are the moves that it's giving us on the hourly time frame. Let's drop it down to the 15-minute and see if we see some sort of turnaround or something like that. Okay. Let me go ahead and erase this 1 hour move. And so from a 15-minute perspective, we have lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Wait a minute, let me see if this is lower. Yeah, that's lower. So if we looked at this move here, lower low, we had a break of structure in this area right here. Let's see how much that pullback was from a 15-minute perspective. So we had a break of structure right here on oil. Okay. And we use our fibs. We definitely had a 50% or greater pullback. So I would even think that the move was here initially. It was here, and they gave us that pullback right up in this area here, and then it started to dip off. It started to dip off like that. Even, oh crap. Let's see if we moved it here. Even if we moved it to this top move here, it still gave us a 50% pullback right up in here. This here looks like news, all this long candle here. So let's see exactly what that candle is on a smaller time frame. Yeah, this right here is just news. Let's look at the 3 minute, 1 minute. So this candle here was a demand zone, like literally right here from a 1 minute perspective. We can see price dipped into that demand zone and decided to go off. Okay, so let's look at what we possibly can catch on oil now. This was a 15-minute break of structure. Okay, so it's possibly going up now. Go back to that hourly. So right now, right here from an hourly perspective, this is our 1 hour break of structure. So if it breaks this, we can possibly look for it to come down, retest, and come back up. However, price may break this, retest, and come back up and test this trend at the top of this channel. If not, then we can look at this as this possibly is going to be a pullback to come back down to this area. Let me see, on a smaller scale, if we drop to the 5 minute, we can see that it's still giving us bullish momentum on a 5 minute time frame, because we have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. No, I'm sorry. This is not a higher low as of yet. This is not a higher low yet because this has not broken. So this is our last higher low here. So we're in bullish structure right now. So if we throw a fib on this, we can see the price is dipping into our 61.80 area, which it possibly can come, well, it's in this demand zone right now. It's right here. It's in this demand zone. So this could be an entry. This really could be an entry. However, what I will wait for, we can really see it on the 1 minute. What I will wait for is a break of structure of this right here. If you get a break of structure on oil right here from a 1 minute, then the move that we can look for is break of structure, retest, shoot off. And if you get that, if you get this move, you literally can ride this all the way up to this 1 hour break of structure liquidity area right here. You can literally ride it up, which is right at confluence with our fibs. Look at that. That's right there by the negative 27. You can ride it right there. And so with that move, let's just see what our risk to reward management could be with that. Like if we caught that move, let's just say we took an entry somewhere in here. Stop loss right here, which is about 11 pips or so. Ride it right here. That's a 1 to 14. That's about 159 pips on oil. So Sister Beck, I hope that helps. That's the move that we can possibly see on oil. So like I said, for right now, let's just recap. right now on a 1 minute time frame, it's dipping into a demand zone right now. So I would wait for a break of structure, and I'll actually put an alert on this for you. I don't really trade this, but I'll still put it on there. US oil, 1 minute BOS. Okay. That's the move right there. All right, you guys. Hey, I really appreciate you guys rocking with us today. Today was a pretty good analysis day. Like I said, the ones that that I will probably be looking at more so would definitely be USD CAD and gold. Those will be my two primaries for this week, because I really think those two pairs, I can catch some really good trades on those. So like I said, USD CAD and gold would be my two primaries. Let me see what else. I think GU has some really good potential as well. EJ, oh, I forgot about that. EJ, I think will be a really good move. Yeah, I think EJ will present some really good opportunity, because it's made a weekly higher high, and this thing is looking to turn around. EJ is looking to turn around. I think we can get some really good pips on EJ. So for me, USD CAD, EJ, and gold. Those will be my three biggest ones, and I'll put those in our Discord chat and let you guys know those are the primary ones that I really will be looking at this week. So like I said, you guys, I appreciate you guys rocking with us today, and don't forget to like the channel, like this video if you guys are still logged in. I really appreciate it. It'll help our algorithm get up. But like I said, you guys, I'll be in the chat this week. If you guys need anything or you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put it in the chat. And I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see y'all on the next one.